Hi, this is Tara with Tara's Tips, Terrific Ink, Paper, and Stamps. And today I want to show you a card using the new Bottled Happiness stamp set out of the new 2022-2023 annual catalog. It's not available yet until May 3rd, but I wanted to give you a sneak peek of it. This is the card that I will be making for you today. I actually received this set as part of signing up for Stampin' Up's on tour, which was an class via Zoom, and each demonstrator that signed up got one of 4 stamps sent to them, and this was the stamp that I got, and we also got a copy of the catalog, so that was exciting. So let's show you how to make this card. Okay, so here is a closer look of the card, and it uses the Bottled Happiness stamp set, which is this here. It also comes with a coordinating punch, but I didn't get the punch with the stamp set, so I will have to be ordering that. Let's get started. We're first going to start with a piece of basic white that is 3 by 4 1/4, and that's going to be for our vase. And we're going to bring in our Stamparatus. And I've got that all lined up. Okay, so we're coming in with our Highland Heather ink and inking that up. And then we're going to come in with our Blackberry Bliss, and I'm just taking a Q-tip and coloring these circular flowers. I just wanted a little bit of interest and variation in color. Okay, so we're going to stamp that up. So we've got our flowers there. I'm just going to clean this off quick. And then we're going to turn it around and do our leaves. Which they're done in Pear Pizzazz. And I'm just going to come in with a little chamois and take the green off my flowers so I can put the centers in with the Blackberry Bliss again. And if you want to give it a huff to re-moisten it, since you did 2 colors, you can. So there you've got your pretty leaves and your flower centers. I didn't get that one super good, so I'd like to get that one again. And I didn't get that one. The nice thing about the Stamparatus is you can come right back in and do it again. Okay, next we're going to do our vase. I'm just going to turn my Stamparatus for this so you can see it better. And this is with my Blackberry Bliss. I've got a little bit darker ink towards the bottom. That's just the way my ink pad is. It's more juicy, so sometimes certain areas get darker and lighter, but I kind of like that for this particular vase because I think it gives it some more depth and shadow, so sometimes I don't worry about trying to get it inked up evenly. I'm going to flip this around and just ink it up in Blackberry Bliss again. You could do 2 different colors or stamp off the first time so that this is more noticeable, but I just like the subtleness of it this way. So there is our vase, and I think it just goes together quickly and is really pretty. Okay, so I am going to fussy cut that out quickly. Since we don't have the punch, and even if we did have the punch to go with it, I kind of want the flowers out anyway, so it's just easier to do it this way. And I'm just moving the cardstock, not the scissors. And with fussy cutting, you know, it's nice to cut nicely, but it doesn't have to be perfect with your white outline. Usually that's not what people's eyes are drawn to. They're drawn to the, you know, the focal image, not the way you cut it out around it. I mean, do the best you can, but don't knock yourself up if it's not perfect. I got a little bit much there, so I'm going to just trim that a little bit. Okay, so there we go. Okay, for the next part, we're going to come in with our emboss machine. I like to call it the Big Boss. And our cutting plates. And we are using a piece of basic white that's 3 3/4 by 5. And we're going to take the Stitch with Whimsy dies, and we're going to take the second largest one. Just line that up in the center. And we've got our nice stitching there. I'm going to move this out of the way for a second. And I'm going to come in with my Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Right marker. You can buy this either as the whole collection or out as you can buy it in color families. I have the whole collection. I really kind of advise buying them that way because you can get the carrying case, and that's really nice to keep all your markers in. And I decided to do this because I thought it seemed like once I embossed it, you couldn't see the stitching as well, and this brought out the stitching. And it takes a little while, but this is something you could do while you're waiting for kids on the bus, if you know, as long as you bring a surface to to work on, or you could do it while you're watching TV or listening to TV, I guess. You can't get a lot of watching done when you're looking at what you're doing, but okay. So there we've got all the stitching done. And like I said, you wouldn't have to do this, but I thought it added a little extra. And while we let that sit for just a minute before I run it through the embossing folder. So I have a piece of Highland Heather that is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. And what I did was I took the second largest stitched rectangle out of it and cut it out already. So this is going to be my outside border. I'm a big advocate of stealing the centers to use for either the inside or just saving it for something else. But in this case, we're going to do it on the inside. And then we're going to use a piece of basic white that is 3 3/16 by 4 9/16. And I will have all these measurements in the details below. But we're going to go ahead and stamp our inside. And I'm bringing in my Stamp and Pierce mat. And we're going to stamp that in Highland Heather, our vase, this wide vase. And then we're going to bring our little flowers in and stamp them in Blackberry Bliss. Nope, and I didn't get that perfect. See if I can get that without getting my head in the way. And I must not have had it inked up very good. So what we're gonna do is flip it over, because that's the nice thing about not gluing anything down until you are done stamping. Just stamp our vase again. There we go. So that will be our inside. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that onto my Highland Heather piece. And if you wanted, you could actually even take another size stitch rectangle out of that just to have for scrap for something else. Sometimes I don't want to be bothered with doing the second layer, but you certainly could. And I'm using my fine tip bottle with the multi-purpose glue inside of it. so that's our inside. We are going to come back and emboss this piece. So we'll bring the big boss back in. And we need to get rid of our number 2 plate and then our cutting plates. And we're bringing our specialty embossing folder plate because this is a 3D plate. This is the painted texture 3D embossing folder. So I am just lining that up in there. So there we go, that creates a nice background there. And I'm going to come in my silicone mat for when I glue this. And I'm just, because it is such a thin border, I'm just doing a thin edge the whole way around the very edge, which is normally what I tend to do for the most part. Sometimes with embossing I do a little bit more, but... And because it's such a small edge, and I like to use it on my silicone mat, that way if I get any extra glue, it's not getting on my work surface. Okay, and then we can put that onto our card front, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And because we've got a little bit of embossing going on, I'm going to put just a little bit of extra. I like to try to keep it thin so it's not making marks on the opposite side of my card. Okay, and then we are going to put our vase on with mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I stuck to it. And I think that should be good. Okay, so we're going to put this over, attach it right here in the center. And then I have already stamped and cut out my sending cheer. It's out of the Bottled Happiness here, right here. And I cut it out with the new Stylish Shape dies, which I think these are going to be a really popular die. You've got the circles, the squares, and then the banners, and they've got stitching on both sides. So I use the smallest circle and the smallest banner to cut those out. And how fun are they? I really like them. You'll have to let me know what you think. So I am going to put a little bit of glue in the center of my sending cheer. And then we are going to put dimensionals on the one side of it. We can put them on the center and then on the right side. The left side, we're just going to put a little bit of glue. So I'm going to use mini dimensionals again. just a little bit of glue here. And then we are going to put a little gold bow on with the Simply Elegant trim. And we're going to use about 6 inches of that. But what I like to do is I like to just tie it while it's on the roll. I am not the greatest bow tire. I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed, but I like to just play with it. I still don't get them perfectly, but I can't tie a bow on a dress to save my life and make it look good. So usually I try to do square knots if it's not too long of a bow. Okay. That looks halfway decent. My ends never go where I want them to go, but that's okay. And you can put that on with a glue dot, or you can just put a little bit of glue right there and let it dry a little bit. And then while we're waiting for that to dry, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue around the outside edge of the inside piece. Okay, so I gave that a minute to dry. So I'm just going to put the knot down on the glue here. And just hold it for a second. And then we're going to flip it over and put our inside piece in. And if you wanted to, you could stamp a sentiment there, but there's not a lot of space to write, so I think it's fine without a stamped greeting. So there's our finished card. You'll have to let me know what you think. I hope you enjoyed this video using the new Bottled Happiness stamp set. Let me know what you think in the comments below. All the details will be in the details below the video. If there's anything that you want to order, I won't be able to put links in there yet to click on for the products because they're not available yet, some of them. The products that are available I will put links to, but the new ones I will put an item number so that you can find them once the catalog goes live on May 3rd. And if you'd like to order, you can go to tarasyak.stampinup.net to place your order and click on Shop Now. All right, thanks for watching.